Hey everybody. First off, I want to thank hideaways for paying for the show. If you need a pair of boots, a pair of waders, a new backpack, some hunting rain gear, look them up. They got some good stuff. When I look back at my success over the years, I think one of the things that gave me a bit of an edge, that really helped me, was my mental game. Was the way I thought about where I would hunt next and how I would hunt. To me, I've always put deer in the place of like people. Like if I was living on this property and all these people were trying to kill me, where would I hide? And I think that's been successful for me. I often will be sitting in a stand hunting and I'm thinking about my next move, where I think other people aren't. I think other people are just going out to a spot based on the wind. They're going from spot to spot. What's the wind today? Oh, I'm going to hunt that spot. Or there's some sign over there, I'm going to hunt that spot. Where I'm thinking about, where haven't I hunted yet? Where could that buck be hiding? You know, based on this, that, or the other thing, where do I think he came from? And I'm making strategic moves all the time to move in on the animal I'm hunting. So I'm doing that wherever I hunt, no matter how well I have the land scouted. But I see a dramatic increase in my success when I have the land scouted properly. And today I wanted to look at one of the bedding areas that most people don't think about. And this particular bedding area that we're going to look at is beds in open cattails. An area where nobody looks. A real isolated area in the middle of the cattails that doesn't have real sign, but holds good bedding. There are very few of these spots like this left, way out in the cattails, in the water and such, where people just don't go. This is a pretty nasty spot, although it doesn't look like it in winter, because it's pretty wet back here. But it's surrounded by cattails, and nobody really notices these little tiny trees out here. But I noticed last year that there's some really big stuff holding up right here. And I see again, man, are there the rubs. And these little bushes, every one of them is hit. And look at this rub, way up high. That is waist high, and there's sign out here all over the place. Trails come from everywhere. Be hard to bow hunt. This guy could do it on the ground though. I mean, it's all grass, so you could get down on the downwind side in the cattails and shoot out through here. But I could also just sit up in a tree on the mainland with a gun, right over the edge of the swamp, and watch this during gun season. It's a pretty cool spot. Look at the rub right back into that stuff, but there's a bed right there. Looks like little bucks and big bucks use this. Yeah, here, this is all pushed down from a bed. Little rub in there. That had to be a small buck. Look how low that is. Top of my boot is the center of that. That's got to be a 1.5-year old buck. Old rubs like that one, and new rubs everywhere. I mean, just not a tree out here that doesn't look like it's been hit. That's a pretty high rub too. But it's just a little clump of tamarack trees, just high enough up out of the water to grow, where nobody ever looks, because there isn't a big tree. These trails are just packed into the ground around this giant rub. That's been rubbed for years and years and years. Heavy trail going to the mainland. See, like right now the wind's going like this. There aren't that many trails over there. A guy could get just into those cattails and he could cover this whole thing with a bow. It's a good spot. There's the bedding area over there. And right now I'm following the main trails coming out of the bedding area, going right through here. There's a couple more trees out in here, and those are all rubbed up too. But look at how far the bedding area is now from me. this trail, and it goes all the way up to the crops up there. You see the crop fields? Obviously, they're not getting to those crop fields till well after dark, and they're not going past a tree while they're coming through here. So a guy has to get on the ground in these cattails in order to kill the buck that's doing this. It's nice to come in here right now when that buck is not home and look at what he's doing and get it figured out. Now you might be thinking, well, how do I hunt these spots? How do I even kill a deer there? Why would I even bother looking there? Because I want to know where those bucks are bedding. When I see them in a certain area, I want to know where they came from. And if I know all the bedding areas, all the spots that the big bucks on the land bed, when sign shows up in a certain area, I'm going to have an idea where he's bedding. I'm going to have an idea where he's coming from. I'm going to have another thing up my sleeve. Even if it's to the point of if he's bedding there and I can't hunt him, I go in there and push him out so he has to bed someplace else where I can hunt him. Or I just take a chance hunt where maybe it's a low odds hunt hiding into cattails. But I take my shot, and if I blow it, then he moves to a place where I can hunt him. This area right here is like a bowl within these phragmites. It swirls around, and sure enough, there's beds in here that go lower. Just everywhere you look. What's interesting about these spots is they're just a little higher elevated than the rest of the cattails that are underwater. So a deer can bed there and stay dry. A lot of times 1 or 2 trees will tip you off where the spots are. Sometimes there's no trees. Sometimes there's a little higher elevation of cattails. They actually bed on the edge of those phragmites like they do the transitions on dry land. And you'll see lower and higher cattails, just that little bit of elevation change, spots to check. And you'll start to see trends in this stuff. And I know from history that along this transition of phragmites over there, there's bedding right on the sides of it. And another thing is they don't bed in those phragmites really well. They bed in the cattails better. That stuff's hard to lay on. It's so thick they can hardly get through it. So you don't see as much inside of there, but you see it on the edges using that for escape. A lot of cases you can find these spots by looking on aerial maps, even if there's no trees or nothing, and look at the spider of trails all leading to one area. Just zoom in on an aerial view and look for those spots that all the trails spider to. There's a reason all those deer are going to one spot in cattails. Merry Christmas, everybody.